Hi, this is Neil. Today we'll continue our very special Corvette Z06 delivery video. My dad will take over from here on out.
Well, here we are at DeLillo Chevrolet doing probably one of the craziest deals that I've ever seen. My friend John here, he came in, and when he was young, he wanted to save the planet. He got an all-electric car. And then today he returned his electric Spark for a monster, a Z06 C8 Corvette. Biggest engine, the biggest everything he could get. Just wanted to say goodbye to Sparky Spark and hello Monster. Nothing really to worry about on the vehicle, on the exterior, because you don't have any antennas or anything to worry about. Fuel is always on the left side. In the back. Only thing I can tell you is if you're going to clean off the engine, soap and things like that will cause a lot of bubbles, and it's kind of hard to keep clean that way. It's particularly if you're soaping up the outside, it can go through these holes as well. So cleaning should be done with as least amount of suds and soap as possible. Don't use any high pressure washers very close, because that can cause water to get inside of delicate wiring. Some extra accessories that come with the vehicle if you're going to be taking it on the track. And this looks like a cover that came with it for the back, so that would roll over the back. Cargo net. An additional cargo net. There's two different types. And I'm sure you're going to be eager to just go and start drilling holes in the front bumper to apply this as soon as possible. And then a funnel for if you're going to add a fuel additive, because that nozzle won't go deep enough. Okay, so just move your visors forward, grab the handle there, grab the handle here, boom, and then back here you're going to push, and then in the front push down, and that releases it. So it's really best to do it as a two-person operation. So on your side, okay, you're gonna lift up, boom, walk forward towards the front of the car, so I can come around. And then push down. Go in on yours?
Yes.
Okay, so now it's nice and tight. And you can close this.
Okay.
Don't slam these, just push and it'll pull itself down. So now you have just a nice convertible like feeling, open air. And then putting it on is just going to be a reverse. So we'll go ahead and pop it on. And then grab firmly like that. If you do this by yourself, which it's possible, just don't set this down on the pavement, because you will get a chip or something, okay?
Okay.
Now go up. Back here, they're going to go in the holes. And then inside, lock into place, and lock into place. Okay. Is that what you got, the luggage?
I think so.
Did you get the Corvette luggage?
Mm,
I think you did.
yes. That's part of a 70th anniversary.
There you go. So, grab your wife, pack up, and take off. Get a babysitter. Windshield washer fluid, coolant. There's an accessory plug in here, and then if somebody small enough was to be able to climb in here, they can push that to open up the rear. One of those nets is going to be for up here, and one's for the back. When you close this, don't slam it. It's not going to do any good. You're not going to be able to close it. Push down once, push down a second time. A lot of people think you can just, it won't work. And you got your inside buttons for releasing the front or the back. And this is your release button from inside the vehicle. Door locks, windows, mirrors, left mirror, right mirror, which way you want your mirror to go. Or fold your mirrors in. Okay. And if you want them to fold in every time, through the settings you can program it to where they fold in every time. This you have to go to SpaceX for tests where they shoot off the rockets and you get rocket fuel only. Okay. So another thing you can do, is your wife going to drive this?
Yes.
Okay. So depending on which key you're using, key number 1 or key number 2, whichever one you keep and give her, you can go in and you can set the steering wheel, the mirrors, not the mirrors, the mirrors, the seat to get in position for you when you get in. So that if you both have different types of proportions where you want the seat to be, or the steering wheel, or the mirrors set, you can program it in. You can also program it to have an easy exit on the vehicle if you want, meaning that if you get really close and you're high, you may want the seat to go down and move back so that you can get in and out easier. And that's also done through the settings. Unlikely, but it could happen at some point. The vehicle is disabled or something and you cannot release by getting in the vehicle. Getting out of the vehicle, I mean by pushing this button. There is a handheld release down here.
Oh, this?
You can lift up. Okay, so there's a heads-up display that goes from this area on the dash and reflects up into the window. And this is the 3 controls for it. One is to move it up or down so that you can see it from where you're sitting once you get your seat position done. This shows what you're going to see in that screen, because you might be looking at either the RPMs, you might be looking at the speed that you're going, you might be looking at different things that can show up in that, and you can brighten or darken it as well from here. If you find it's a distraction for you, then you can turn it down. Down here you can brighten or darken what you see up here by rotating this knob right here. And down here is your parking brake. So your parking brake is now electric. Did you hear it?
Yes.
Okay, if you're going to take off the parking brake in the old days, or if you forgot to take it off, you would drag your brake. Now, if you put it in reverse or drive and you give it any throttle, it will automatically release. Cruise control is over here, turning it on, and then once you reach the desired speed, go ahead and push down in the center here, set. Each mile an hour you want to go faster, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or go slower, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you could tap the brake to turn it off or cancel it right here as well. Z mode, that's going to be a way that you can change the way that the vehicle shifts and different features on the vehicle. We'll look at that in a second, but that's what the Z mode is, and then your paddle shifters are right here. To be equivalent to like a neutral state, because the transmission in this, a lot of people think it's automatic transmission, but in reality it's two manual transmissions. One with odd gears, one with even gears that are mated together and controlled electronically. Okay. So by pulling both of these at the same time would be the equivalent of a neutral. So if you pulled them both, then you could rev the engine.
Right.
Which you wouldn't do, yeah, just simultaneously. Windshield wipers on the opposite stalk. Favorite radio stations, up and down. Once you set in your presets, boom. This is how you can operate them. And then on the other side, does it say volume? I can't see from here.
Yes.
Okay, that would be to increase or decrease the volume as well. So your whole idea is, if you can, keep your hands on the wheel as much as possible and your eyes on the road, rather than having to reach over and look at something else. If your hands get cold, heated steering wheel. This is basically where you're going to answer and receive calls, or make calls, and where you're going to decline or end calls. These buttons here, when we turn on the dash, or when we turn the vehicle on, is going to decide what you see up here, what information you're reviewing here. Set off every car alarm in your neighborhood. You just use the automatic mode for shifting. It'll do a much better job, likely, than you'll do in manual mode using the paddle shifters. Likely, unless you're Mario Andretti recreated. Okay? In reality, boom. If you really want to try to be in control of the vehicle and shift it manually and use the paddle shifters, then you can do that. Keep in mind that even in this mode right here, the automatic, if you want to, rev the engine, pull both paddles at the same time, it'll do that for you. Give you that capability. Okay, so your front lift is right here. Right now it's lowering. Can you see it lower from the outside? So I'm going to go ahead and lift it up. It was already lifted, but if you look at the outside, then you'll start to see So what it's done is, as you're going over speed bumps or you're going through driveways, maybe it's your own driveway at home, it's easier if the front end is lifted on this because of all the carbon fiber effects. So what happens is once you raise the vehicle up, you have the option to store that area in. And anytime you get within a perimeter of that area and you're slowing down to pull into that driveway or there's that speed bump, it will automatically raise the vehicle. Once you exit that perimeter, then it'll lower. Now, it says probably in the manual that you have 1,000 locations that you can set. The fact of the matter is that it's unlimited. The individual who designed that feature was just basically put a number on it just so that it would be a number that could be used, but it's unlimited. You'll never run out of locations. And so use those locations often. If you just, you know which grocery stores you go to every time you pull into one, every time you go over a speed bump, and wherever, doctor's office, what at schools, boom, just get it to store in all those locations.
Okay, can you show me how to store it?
Okay, so let's see, we'll lower. And see, it says remember. Auto lift location remembered. Hitting the inside arrow here. Boom, it's that easy.
So press this.
Press that, the vehicle raises, immediately then hit this to store that location in.
Okay, pretty convenient.
Super convenient. Okay, and this is basically showing the front camera, and this is your electronic stability control. Turning off your electronic stability control is going to turn a lot of features off on this car that will prevent you from possibly having a crash There's no reason to ever turn that off. If you do accidentally turn it off, it will be on the next time you start the vehicle. The only reason some people would turn it off is, let's just say you were stuck in snow. Like you said, you were going to take this to Mammoth and Big Bear and everything. But in all seriousness, if you were stuck, you would want to increase the ability to spin the wheels to get yourself unstuck. Okay, and that's what that would do. So then, that's why there's a switch for that. But you want it on all the time. This little mode right here, where it says mode, boom, as you rotate it, boom, you'll see that right below the P there, there's different settings. Okay, so you've got my mode, which is going to be a mode to where you can select the exhaust sound, steering, suspension, everything from, and we'll get to that in a second. Touring, which is going to be basically kind of an everyday driving. Sport, and it's going to change the way the transmission shifts and reacts. It's also going to change the sound. You may have already heard that, changing the exhaust sound. Okay. Track mode. Track mode kind of does a little bit about what the turns off all these features that the electronic stability control does, because in track mode you want to control every dynamic of the vehicle, and so it's basically removing some things that might inhibit you getting around the track faster. And we'll go back the other direction, sport, back to touring. Let's go back. Brake field's tightened up, engine sounds a little louder. And when we go to track mode, everything's pretty much maxed out. Okay. And Z mode is another mode that you can have right there, that you can change everything by editing it right here as well. So that just at the touch of a button, you can go into Z mode if you want to. Okay, versus using your mode over here. So what mode do you think you'd probably drive it in the most? Probably the factory touring mode.
Probably.
Okay, that's just the most common, okay, every day. I know though, this sounds a lot better, the sport mode does. But you're never going to want to drive it in track mode, period, I would think. Now, we were talking earlier about your display over here. So, you over on this side over here, so you're kind of I for information. There's your trip computer, and as you roll through this trip computer, you can see the different things that you can see in that menu. If you want to reset something, like a trip odometer, just hold in on the center. Back to 0. I'll leave trip 1 just from everything from the day 1. The next is performance. So, you want to see what this car will do from 0 to 60? Easy. Find a place that you can do that acceleration from safely, and basically you would put it into drive. You'd be in drive at that point, and you would just floor the car, and when it hits 60 miles an hour, it would time that amount. So you can just basically, if you wanted to, just in the different modes, see how it affects your 0 to 60, and then keep a record of that. You do have a PDR lap timer. That's a recorder, and basically when you start a lap of something, sometimes they have you might go up to a racetrack, or there might be some sort of other road course or something that you're using, and each time, based on the GPS, it passes the starting line, then it would count that as a lap. You want to see what kind of G-forces that you're feeling? Okay. Launch control is unavailable right now because it is in break-in mode. This vehicle is going to take some time to break in. You're not going to have full performance out of the vehicle for a few miles. So what those miles it'll indicate to you when it's time that the break-in is completed, but probably somewhere 500 or more miles. You can use this as a radio tuning area right here if you wanted to. So then again, your hands on the steering wheel, you're able to go through here and change the channels. What kind of maintenance does the vehicle need now? Everything's fine. 97%, 99%.
It's already 80% on
Yep,
the oil
it's going
line.
down. It's going down.
With 7 miles.
With 7 miles. So by the time you reach 100 miles, you need an oil change. In actuality, it's based on a lot of different things. So with oil life monitors, they don't necessarily just strictly use time. They don't strictly use miles. They use startups, RPMs, and getting the vehicle, starting it up and getting it to full operating temperature is much better for any combustion engine than it is to start the vehicle, back it out the driveway, pull it back into driveway and turn it off. Okay, that's harder on the oil because sometimes gases build up in the oil, and when it does that, it'll cause the oil to break down quicker or become contaminated. So by getting an engine up to full operating temperature, it'll burn those gases off the oil and the engine oil will last longer. Air filter life. Engine life. You see some of the tiles. If you have no tiles, oil pressure, oil temperature. So you can decide which tiles you want to display if you want. And that's done here. Display design. You can link the display design to the driver's mode. So if you change this mode, you can change the way the display looks. Or you can just keep it on a certain, so if you want to see what a different, like for instance, a weather mode, that might be what it looks like there, letting you know what your air pressure is, okay, your tires. Oops, go back, sorry. Track mode. Notice how it just changed the display again. RPMs seem to be the focus up there again, along with tire pressure. Sport mode, a little more traditional. Oil pressure or oil temperature and G-force rating. Okay, so you can see how many G's you're pulling. And tour mode. Similar, except instead of the G-force, you got your time and temperature up there, and then we're just linked to whatever mode that you're using over here. So let's go to this is your home screen right here. So you've got, this is going to be likely a map over on this side and radio split. Some of the icons that you can use and the rest of the icons. Now these are all movable, so you can customize this the way you want. So if we just take Android Auto right here and we move Android Auto over to here, and then we want to fill this spot here. So you might choose maybe climate. If you don't want to use these buttons here,
Sure.
then what that would do is it would make this your climate button here. Might be a little easier to see. You might like that display better than using this plethora of controls down this way. So if you were to do that, okay, we were to take climate and move it over here. Okay, now climate is there. So on your home screen currently, we've got audio, which is your radio, AM, FM, XM, and more. Let's just say that this was the station you wanted to listen to. Now it's saved. Once you get all these filled up, okay, then you can add more. And this is where you're going to be changing them, is down here in your favorites on that side of the steering wheel. So once you get your favorites set up in maybe random order, then you can go to those stations down there without ever taking your hand off the wheel. You can just scroll through your favorites. And then we're going to tap phone here, connect phone, and add phone. Now tap My Chevrolet, and boom, and we're going to hit pair here, hit pair on your phone, and allow if it's asking allow. Anytime it asks allow, just allow it. John's phone's in. You use Apple CarPlay?
Yes.
Okay, so let's tap Apple CarPlay. Okay, so what we want to do here is we want to see which key this one is, whether it's key number 1 or key number 2. Okay, and we're going to go into users. We're going to sign in. And go ahead and put in your email address. Okay, done. So what it's done basically is it's just gotten rid of the factory settings. Now go ahead and tap accept. Continue. Tap the word users. Tap the pencil next to your name. Okay. Tap profile picture. Pick one of those pictures that you identify with. Okay. Alright, and let's see what the profile identifiers are. Okay, so key number 2 started this vehicle because I put key number 1 out on the pavement. Okay, so do you want your wife to have key number 1?
Yes.
That's nice of you. You're a gentleman. Okay, so go ahead and tap key number 2 and save. Okay, so now you and key number 2 are now correlated. So now you and setting number 2 is going to be correlated. So what you're going to want to do is get your steering wheel, your mirrors, and your seat the way you want it set. Okay, so now what we're going to want to do is we're going to hit set.
This one?
Set. And then hit number 2 and hold it. Okay, so now guess what? Those settings are now, you're done. So now she would do the same thing except for key number 1. Okay? Do you want the seat to change positions each time you enter and exit the vehicle?
Yes. How do I do that?
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the home button here. Go to settings. Go to vehicle. And let's see, we're going to find which one that is. I believe it is seating position, seat exit memory, seat entry memory. So we want those on. Okay. And now what you want to do is put the seat in position of the way that you want it to be when you get in and out of the vehicle. Now you're going to hit set and then immediately hold that button down.
Set.
Okay. So now that is your seat entry and seat exit memory. Okay. So when you get in the vehicle, it will get you in this position now. The next thing you would do when you start the vehicle, then it's going to move everything else in the position that you want it to be in. And for Mrs., the same exact way. Think you can replicate that?
Yes, I think so.
Good, good. So she'll have her own users button, because you're going to add a user profile, same way. And so that she'll see her little icon that she selects as well. Now, if you grab her key, it will think that it's her. But then you can select which profile in case you accidentally have her key, or you guys are driving, you only have one set of keys with you for the day, and you're going to be switching positions. You can switch your profile. Okay, so that knows it's getting it ready for you and not for her, even though she started out driving that day. So congratulations, John. Congratulations on your new Z06. You're part of a very elite club. You've got the 70th anniversary edition. And I hope this vehicle you enjoy in the best of health, prosperity, and be safe out there. Congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
God bless you. Right on.
Thank you.
There you have it. Our Corvette Z06 70th Anniversary Special Edition with the Z07 Performance Package is right here, back home, along with our red Z06. That's all I'll show you for today. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button below, subscribe, and turn on notification bell. Also, if you have any comments, questions, or maybe any compliments, make sure to type in the comments below. Don't be shy, and bye. See you in the next video.